Hi guys, welcome back to another video with me, Ali. So in this video, we're going to go through quite a few of my bounding outfits that I've been putting together for the rest of my loungefly. So first up we have this one, which is my Slytherin tattoo one. Obviously, as you can see, it's sort of like greens and golds and beiges. I know I don't personally like the gold with the Slytherin, but I was determined to try and put a band together for this. So a few things I've done is I've tried to match my eyeshadow to the sort of colours in the actual bag. Unfortunately, I don't have any gold earrings like this, but I have put my silver snakes in and my silver snake necklace. I've also done my hair sort of in this like bow thing where I've got two different shades of green, and although I know they're yellow, but they're sort of there to represent the gold. I then obviously have paired it with the top that I got from, where did I get this one? I think this one was Shein, and that I'm going to be using later on in another bound. The skirt obviously is from Temu with the built-in shorts, which is great. I've also paired it with this, which is a snake belt that I got off Shein ages ago. I just think that adds to the waist to give that sort of schoolgirl look, sort of like still uniform look, because I think that works well with house bounding for Harry Potter. I've put some long black socks on, and at the moment I've currently got them paired with my little heel boots from Primark. They're just black ones. However, I do have options when it comes to the shoes, so I'm just going to quickly show you those. So these are another pair that I have that would be quite good for if you're walking around the park, because they are flat. So they've also still got that like chunky sort of gothic-y look to it, because I always feel like if you're going to be a Slytherin, you should have sort of an edge to you. So if I was to wear those with this outfit, they would look a bit like this. So they would look like this. They're a little bit chunkier, a little bit more gothy, and I still think they look good as well. I just think a boot is better with this outfit than the shoes that I usually use with the different ribbons. And then the third and final option would be these ones. These ones are off of EMP. Now, they originally came in this sort of like, can you see how it's like a military green colour here? And it just didn't feel quite Slytherin enough for me. So I've actually painted these with like a acrylic leather paint. I do need to go back in and fix some of the cracks, but these are my Slytherin boots, and these would be the other options for this outfit. So let's give those ones a try as well. And that's what those ones look like. So they just give more of a green bottom to the outfit. If I come up close, you can see they've got the Slytherin emblem on them. And that is how the outfit would look all together. Let me know in the comments which pair of shoes you think looks best for this bounding outfit, and on to the next. Okay, so the next bound, you might know by the way I've done my face, is for my Tigger Loungefly. So I've just done like a small section here with a tiger print using some eyeshadow to give me that like sort of orange base. And then I've done a similar thing with my eyes, sort of gone with all orange tones with a nice thick cat eye wing liner. I then popped my hair into two space buns. They're not overly neat today, but this is sort of to give you an idea what I would do. And just to give them a little bit extra, I put some little orange bows in the back, just so that at the back of my head you can also see the Tiggerness. I found these gorgeous little spiral earrings on Etsy. These are adorable. They just remind me of springs, which are very, very, very Tigger. And I think these would be absolutely perfect for this bound. So we're going to pop those in like so. Very nice. The other thing I could do is I have some like orange and black studs that I could swap some of my other ears out for. Then we have the Mickey ears. So I've used the belt from the dress that I'll be wearing for this bounding to create myself a Tigger bow, and I've just simply safety pinned it on top of one of my existing headbands. So they look like this. Very cute, and they'll match the dress. And then finally, I have got my trusty shoes that I walked around the parks in at Universal and at Disney for hours, and these are really comfy. These are my Sketcher Bobs. What I've done is I've switched out the laces for some orange laces, and then using some of the leftover fabric from the fabric belt, I've made myself some cute little bows to go on here as well. And I've just used that same clip method that I've used on my other bows in the past, just to like tie everything together. And that will be going with this bag, which is my Tigger bag. And so let's put it all together and see what it looks like. Okay, on to the next loungefly. So the next loungefly is my Disney dog loungefly, which is this bag, which has got multiple dogs on it from different franchises. We've got Fox and the Hound, we've got Lady and the Tramp, we've got 101 Dalmatians, we've got Oliver and Company. This one was a little bit more difficult because it's not necessarily a character for the bounding. So I'm going to show you what I've done to sort of make an outfit around this particular loungefly bag, starting with the bow that I've made for my Mickey ears. So this has been made out of felt. I had these like iron-on patches that I had spare that I've ironed onto the fabric before I created the bow, just to give me more paw print. So that's the back of the bow. And then the front of the bow, I've done like a little bone going through the middle, which is very glittery, which I thought worked quite well. It's not an exact match, but it is close enough. So that will go on my Mickey ears. Next up, we have our socks, which I got a pack of them in my Temu order, if anybody's watched that video on my YouTube channel. And this pair seemed the closest colourway, so I've gone with some ankle socks there to go with it. We then come to shoes. Ooh, I'm going to be pairing it with my Bob shoes. They need a bit of a clean, but these have got multicoloured doggos on them and they are extremely comfortable. So those are the shoes that I would be pairing it with. We then have these earrings, which are like little doggos in like a nice little colorway. I like the fact that they've got that ombre effect. And because of the colors in my earrings and in my shoes, that's why I've gone with like different shades of paw prints on the actual outfit. So underneath I'll be wearing that Temu top that had the paw prints on, that was like a sports top. I have altered the neckline slightly just because it was a little bit for me, so I've basically just cut it off, folded it over and stitched it back down. And then using that pinafore that you saw in one of my other videos, which was really long, I have shortened it. And I have basically drawn on a load of paw prints all over this outfit. On the top pocket that came with, I've put a load of paw prints there and some bones as well, because there's bones on the bag. If you look really closely, there's a load of little hidden Mickeys in there as well. And inside each of these paw prints has got different names of Disney dogs. With the excess fabric that I cut off from the bottom, I gave myself another pocket and again filled it with more paw prints, more names of dogs from Disney shows and films, some more little hidden Mickeys in there and bones. I've then coloured in the buttons on the side and done a little paw print inside one of them, same on the other. I've also got little paw prints on these are all done with acrylic pens. And then because there were so many Disney dogs that I needed to get the names on, I've also done like a trail down the back of the dress, exactly the same, loads of paw prints, loads of little hidden Mickeys and bones with all the different names of all the different Disney dogs that I could think of. And then just to complete it on the front, just in case you weren't sure this was a Disney dog outfit, using the Disney font, I've written Disney dogs with a big paw print and a big Mickey. You can see there's some like glitteriness there. That's because that's the sealant that I've used. It's quite glittery. And that is the pinafore. I've left the pinafore quite baggy. It is a little bit big on me, but I think I prefer the comfortableness of that. And then if I really wanted to, I could also add in a little paw necklace that I've got. It looks like that. Looks like that. There you go. Yeah, so let's put it all on and see what it looks like. So at this point I realised I forgot to turn my mic on. So I'm just going through the outfit. As you can see, the pinafore is a little bit baggy, but I do think it works really well together. The back looks great. You can see all the different paw prints, and I'm really happy with this bound. I had to get a bit more creative because it wasn't a character or a specific ride. But overall, I'm pretty impressed, pretty happy. Can't wait to wear this. Really cute. Next up, we have my Hercules the Musical bag that I got down in the West End. So this is the bag. I'm just going to show you through a few of the accessories that I've bought to go with this bounding. I plan to wear it with the white play suit that I got from, I believe, Shein. I've got that posted on one of my haul videos. I bought this belt to go with it just to help cinch in the waist and just give a bit more gold to the outfit. It is elasticated. This is also from Shein. Has a buckle at the front, and I just felt like this was like reminiscent of the sequins that's already on the bag in the blue, but picking out on the gold. And the gold kind of like colouring is very similar. There's some yellowy golds and like some golds on this bag. So I've got that to go around the waist. Then of course we have got the earrings that I think I've shown you before to go with this bag. Like so. And again, I like the fact that they had the blue and the yellowy gold in there to match the bag. Then I have some like Greek related things. So I got this set where you've got like the Greek symbols there. Got a bracelet. You get an armband cuff and you get a necklace. I think the necklace might be taken a bit too far, you know, because I've got the necklines going that way to be more Greek. But I've got those. I think these would also be great if I ever did like a Meg bounding. These could be really cool accessories for that. But yes, these were also off Shein. They came as a set. And then finally, we've got this watch strap that I also showed in another video. And again, it's just because I felt like the watch strap sort of goes with those blue and yellow tones that are in the bag. Now on to things that I've made for this bag. So not too much for this one. First of all, I've made these little discs that have got pins on the back to go on my gladiator shoes, just to be reminiscent of that merchandise that's from the film. So all I've done, these were some existing things I had for another actual cosplay. They were the medallions I made for Esmeralda's cosplay when I was doing a very cartoon look for her. These are fabric, they're iron-on patches that I've just glued, and then I've just added some glitter just to make them a bit more fancy. And then finally we come on to the ears. So I did buy the base ears off of Shein, the gold with the gold bow that's already here. That was how the ears were to begin with. They were like £1.97, something really silly like that. What I've then done is I've also bought a blue sequined one off of Shein. I bought some of these patches and I've literally just stitched all together and popped it in. And I just think the blue is a little bit darker, but I feel like this really goes with the bag. So that's all the accessories. So let's try it all on and see what it looks like. We'll be right back. So this is the completed look for my Hercules the Musical bag. Obviously, I've gone with the play suit that I got from Shein. I've paired it with this belt, which is nice, shiny and gold. I just think that helps define the waist as well. And then I have some accessories that have got like the Greek symbols on them. There's a ring, there's a bracelet. And then obviously I've paired it with those earrings that I found on Shein, and then the headband that I've popped together. And this is the bag. I'm wearing my gladiator shoes and I've popped those little medallions on just to add that little nod to the merchandise shoes from the film. And yeah, I really like this. I'd probably put my hair in pigtails or something like that, maybe some braids, and I'd obviously do my makeup to match. But this would be my bounding for this Hercules bag. The next bag is this one. So this is the Halloween bag from, I believe, last year, which has the iridescent sequins all the way around. It's obviously got the mini ears and mini bow. It's really hard to see on the camera, but on the back there is a spider. Hopefully you can just about pick that out, in purple. And all the hardware is also this like iridescent metal. So the outfit that I've gone and created around this one involves several items. We'll start with the shoes. So these are shoes that I already had. These are off Shein, but these just seemed absolutely perfect for this bag. The glitter on it is that iridescent glitter, which is the same as the bag is. These are incredibly light and these are incredibly comfortable. I got them off of Shein about 2 years ago now, and I can spend the whole night in these. So they're very, very comfortable shoes, and I just think they're going to be perfect for this outfit. We're going to pair that with, well, I have two options. I can either pair it with some socks, long socks, which I think would be quite cute. But I also have the option of putting some kind of like pattern type with it. I don't actually have any in my possession, but one of the things I'd probably look into finding is, if I went with tights, a tight that had like a spider web effect on it would be very cool. I think that would work really well with this particular bounding outfit. Obviously next up we've got the little bow that I got off of Shein in a recent haul, which will go in the back of my hair. We have a couple of options with regards to belts as well. We'll show you both of them. I have this belt that I've had for a while. It's obviously got the sort of like bat wing effect, but with spiderweb on the inside, which is very reminiscent of the bow on the bag. Or I've got the belt that I got off of, I think it's off of Temu. It's either Temu or it's Shein, one of the two. But again, the reason I got this belt is, as you can see, it's iridescent. It's still got that like sort of gothy, sort of Halloween look, but on this one, it is a snake buckle. So that is an option for belts for this outfit. Then we come on to tops. So I was initially going to put it with a t-shirt top that I've used for my Slytherin one. However, I've rethought that. I've got two options. If I wanted something a bit more lighter, depending on the weather, I've got this one, which is the bodysuit that I got from Shein. It's just one of their basics. It's really, really comfortable. I've worn it a couple of times now. So there's that option. Or I forgot and recently remembered that I have, I believe this is Hell Bunny. No, Jawbreaker. I've got this jumper, which has got this really cool spiderweb pattern on the top. And I thought that actually could look really cute. So that is another option. We'll try that one on. Then we've got the skirt, which is off of Shein, which is this purple sort of skirt. There is no elastic in it. It's got a hidden zip down the side. It hasn't got built-in shorts or anything like that. So if I went with the socks, I'd probably wear cycle shorts underneath. Obviously, I wouldn't need to if I was wearing the tights. And then we have the jewellery options. So again, I've got a few jewellery options here because I do own quite a lot of this kind of things, because obviously I'm obsessed with Halloween. So there's these ones, which obviously is spider webs. They're quite large. Or I could go down bat route. I've got these ones, which I quite like, which are like really long. I've had these for a very long time. I think these are Claire's accessories, possibly, from many, many moons ago. Or I've got one of my own set of earrings that I've made myself, which are these little bats that are on like a clip loop earring, and a matching necklace in a purple. This little charm also appears, because I've used one of them in the bow that I have done for this bound, in the centre. So I sort of took inspiration. This fabric is what I got off of Temu. And what I did was I've gone in with an acrylic pen to draw myself out sort of like some webbing, and then gone over the top with some glitter by putting some glue down, and just so that it sort of like emulates the colours within this bag. I thought that was quite cute, and I've just attached it using safety pins at the back for the purpose of today. I could always put a couple of stitches in it, but I like to be able to interchange out my basic headband with different ones. So I guess the only thing left to do now is try it on. So this is variation number 1. So this is the basic top from Shein. Obviously the skirt, I've gone with the little iridescent belt, which has got the snake on it. The earrings I've gone for is this set, just because my neck's more exposed in this one, so the necklace works quite well. Obviously we've got the ears, we've got the bow in the back, and on this version I've paired it with the long socks, obviously the boots, So that's option one. Let's see if we can see some other combinations and if we prefer those. So in this option, I've kept the socks and everything, but I've swapped out into this top, which I do like the fact that it sort of emulates the webbing on the bag. Because this one has got a higher neck, I'm able to swap out my earrings. I've gone with the little spider webs instead. Everything else stayed the same, the belt's the same, shoes are the same. We do have one more variation that we can do, so let's switch into that one. So in this version, what I've done is I've swapped out the earrings again. So these are the back versions that we could do. Obviously the headband and everything else stayed the same. I've kept the top the same. I've also switched out the belt. Just tilt the camera so you can see that. So I've switched out for the belt that's sort of like a back belt. I do actually quite like this. I know it's sort of like getting lost a little bit, but I like the subtle detail of that. And then I have swapped out into tights. Now, I'm not suggesting that you wear fishnets to Disney. This is just an example because I don't have the kind of ones that I would actually want to wear with this. These are my Moon and Star ones. What I actually probably would do is get a pair of tights that is more of like this kind of opaqueness. These ones have got roses on, but would have sort of like a webbing effect on it. So they'd be a little bit thicker than the actual fishnets, but I just wanted to give you an example of what I mean when I say wearing some pattern tights with it. And that would be this look for it. So there's several options there. So let me know down in the comments which combination you prefer, or maybe you like a combination that I didn't try, different earrings, etc. I think personally, in terms of like the top, the belt and the skirt, I do like this. I think it's just a matter of like the tights or the socks and what earrings I'd wear with it, because I do think this works quite well. Maybe I could do something to the belt just to give it a bit more of that sort of like iridescent look. Maybe I could just go in with some of the glitter like I have done on this on the belt, but we'll see. So I think that just leaves one bag to go. So this is where I'm at so far for my other zero bag, this one. Bounding outfit. So these are some like knee-length cycle shorts, and what I've tried to do is paint some of the elements from the bag onto the shorts. So it's just drying at the moment, but as you can see, I've sort of tried to pick up on this bit here, some of the gravestones down the front, and then this little scene at the side. I've sort of like tried to take elements from that, including the stars. So this is where we're at. It's still currently very, very wet. Most of it's had the coats that it's going to have. Once it's all completely dry, I'm going to go in with my acrylic paint pens to do all the details, like the details on the graves, on Zero's grave as well, on the pumpkin, and then put some like line work into the trees as well, just to give it a bit more texture. But so far, I'm quite happy with that. So this is where I'm at with the zero bounding. So I've done all my painting and I've done all my details now. So put in Zero's grave, the face on the pumpkin, I've done some line work on the trees, and I've also just added some line work into the spiral. Then we have done the gravestones over this side. So this is looking great. So this is where I'm at with the cycling shorts for my zero bound, which is for this bag. I have gone back in with a different set of fabric paints because I just felt the original one that I did wasn't like vivid enough. So we've gone over the top with some brighter purples, and I've gone in and done my highlights. So you've got that swirl effect, which is sort of like reminiscent of this bit. Then we've done Zero's house, we've done ourselves a pumpkin, sort of tried to replicate some of the sort of trees that you can see on the bag. They're not perfect, but they are better than they were. And then if I flip these over, even though I'm not sure you will actually see the back of these shorts because the top should come down lower at the back, but I've just continued the scene So I've done some of the hills with some of the like crosses and stuff, which you can sort of see that here on the bag. It's got these like line works on the hills, and then I've taken some inspiration from these like crosses and urns that you can see in the background there. And then on this side, I have done like half of the fence. Let me turn it so you can see it a bit better. So half of the fence and a few more. So that's this fence that's down the bottom of the bag here. And again, just put a couple of crosses in there. And I've made sure that the tree sort of now goes onto the back so that it looks more like a full scene. So that's where we're at with the shorts. So they are done. All I've got to do now is just cover everything in like a sealant Mod Podge. Although it does say that a lot of this is waterproof, I just like to be double checking. So I'm going to seal all of my paintwork so that hopefully, even if it does rain, it wouldn't come off. Then we move on to the top, which is this section here. Remove the fabric. So this is where we're at with this. So this is a top from Shein. And I love the shape of that. Then this bottom bit here was a top that I've sort of deconstructed into a skirt. And I've cut it so that it's slightly longer at the front and shorter at the back. And then here is how the back is looking. Though that's top that is now a skirt. Again, I've sort of tried to angle it. And then you've got this longer one at the back because I kind of like the tier effect. And then obviously I've put a little bit of lace around the bottom just because I kind of like all the different textures. I do still plan to put like another layer or two of sort of like this see-through material, maybe another one here and then another one like here, so it's like another bit here, another bit here, and that will go all the way around. And then I just need to attach that as a skirt. So the top will be separate, and then as you can see here, I'll attach all those layers together, put it on a bigger piece of white elastic, and that will be like my skirt that goes over the top of those leggings. So that is the plan for the rest of the day today, is to try and figure out the skirt part and just finish that off. First of all, excuse my terrible filming skills. So we're up to this point. I have cut some extra layers out of this chiffon-y fabric. And then I've pinned 4 layers together. My next plan is to sew this all together so it's one garment, and then we'll put a waistband in, and then we'll get it back on the mannequin, and we might have to do a little bit more cutting to shape, but we're getting there. I'm still not sure about the lace at the moment. I guess we'll see once it's all sewn together. So to the sewing machine. Okay, so that's all those layers sewn together. I now just need to measure up my own waist, do myself a piece of white elastic, and then attach to the top here, and then we can pop it back on the mannequin and see what it's looking like. I'm going to use the same method that I did for my Haunted Mansion circle skirt with regards to the elastic waistband. So you make the waistband out of the elastic, sew it so that it's a circle, and then we do sort of like, you put the center here, and then you find the half, half, and that'll help me give me a more even gather all the way around the waistband. So I'm going to go and do that next. So waistbands all pinned into place, using that technique, like I said, I've used before. If you want to see a more in-depth sort of tutorial of how I do this to get even gathers, you can go and look at my Haunted Mansion bounding video on my YouTube channel. So the next plan is to sew this all together. The trick when doing elastic on something like this is when you're sewing, you need to pull the elastic as tight as you can, so that allows the in-between fabric to lay flat against it, and that's what creates your gathers. So we're going to go and do that now. Okay, skirt is done. I've popped it back on my mannequin underneath the top. So this is separate. This bit has its own top, and the long bit underneath will get tucked into the cycle shorts. And then we have finished the skirt. It's got like multiple layers, like ruffles. And then if I turn my mannequin around, as you can see, it's sort of like longer at the back. So we've got this more tiered at the back, which I really like. And then obviously I've got this little choker to go with this bound, because I think it feels like it emulates the pink that is in this bag. As you can see, it's more like a bright pink, but I like the little heart because it's sort of like reminiscent of some of the hearts in the other design of the bag. So that is the top slash skirt part done, which will obviously go with the shorts. These will be like worn underneath so that that part will pop out at the bottom. I am just waiting for some ribbon, and then I can make the bow that will go with the Mickey ears for this particular bounding, and I can finally complete that set of loungefly related boundings. Okay, so we're on to the bow. So I am making my bow the same way I make all of my bows. If you want a more in-depth tutorial on how I do that, you can go back to some of my previous bounding videos. I bought this fabric off of Etsy. I also got this one as well, but I've chosen to go with this one. What I wanted to do is replicate the stripes that are on the bag, which are purple and black, I believe, that are like on the on the straps. So can you see how I used felt tip here, and it just bled, and it bled here as well. And then this is like the acrylic paint pens I've got, but you can see they also were bleeding. So I had an idea. I painted a section with this all-purpose acrylic paint glitter varnish, which is this section here. And once I'd let that dry, I went over it again in the acrylic paint pen, and as you can see, it's not bleeding as much because there's now that barrier in between. Same for on the collar here, it is taken a lot better with that base. So we're at this point, so that's what I've done. I've cut my bow out, I've sewn it together apart from the little hole down here. I've currently just got a piece of paper inside so that the two pieces of fabric didn't like stick together while this dries. I have done this side, which will be the front side, with a thin layer of this. I'm just waiting for it to dry. I will then do the same on the reverse, and then we will, using my fabric pens and acrylic pens, we will go over the stripes in purple and black, and then add in Zero's collar, which on the bag is a bright pink colour. Once that's all done and all dry, we'll do another layer of the acrylic paint with the glitter seal, just to make sure it's all sealed in nicely, and then we will pinch this. And I have got a couple of options for the middle of this. One option is I've got this ribbon, which kind of almost looks like it belongs to that, so I could do the center with that, or I do actually have this like cutout of Zero that could go in the middle, but we'll put it all together and I'll come back and show you the result once I've finished letting this all dry and putting in the little bits. So that is the bow done. So as you can see, I coloured in this fabric to match the bag. I then did end up using the other fabric as like a backing bow, so it's like a double bow. I have used pink ribbon to go around the middle because of the collar, but then I just folded this little bit of the ribbon, so I started Zero in the centre. Then we'll put a safety pin on the back of it, and we can attach it to the ears like so. I did think about utilising this like up here somewhere. However, I think it actually might be quite nice if, when we flip the, like so, might be quite nice to have Zero on the back somewhere, maybe on one of the ears, just so that on the back of the ears you also have a bit of Zero. I could put him on like a little bit of a safety pin or something, so I can move him around. It might be quite cool if he is in the centre on the back. I like that. But yeah, so that is Zero sorted. So this is the bag, and it's time to try on the Zero outfit I've been making. So let's give it a go. So this is the outfit all put together. So we've obviously got the bag, we've got the floaty top on top, we've got the choker, which I felt was very reminiscent of this bit. And then I've popped my 0 earrings in. We've got the little headband, and then I popped 0 in the back as well. And we've got the floofy little skirt, which is longer at the back. Then we have the cycle shorts with the design on the side. These are poking out really well, actually. Obviously it goes around the back. I think the skirt is probably like just a little bit too big on me, but I don't want it to be like too tight. I've paired it with some white frilly socks, and I've popped the bows on from my other 0 bound. Let me just show you those. Which are these ones. I would probably also put the glow in the dark laces in these, like I did for my last 0 bound. But I like this. This is cute. It's wearable. The top is giving a very 0. I love the way it moves. Very ghost-like. And I think the ears came out really well to go with the bag. So this is my 0 bound. And that's it. So that's all the Loungefly that I have now have a bounding outfit to go with them. All except for one, which is this one, my villain bag. This is the one that I'll be doing for Halloween. I'm hoping to do at least 7 different villains to go with this particular bag. There are only, I think, 5 on the bag, but we've got some bonus ones for you. There is a bit of a delay in this particular video because some of the things that I've ordered via Vinted and Shein are currently delayed due to the problems that InPost is having. But fingers crossed everything will arrive on time and I can get this video out in time for Halloween. I really hope you've enjoyed this video and this series and have got some inspiration for your own bounding outfits and some ideas of how to make and collate things going forward. And until next time, stay safe and bye-bye.